American-born Chinese promotes us to laugh, sometimes uncomfortably, at the painful and awkward experiences of certain characters. Because these experiences are not amusing for the characters who suffer through them, or for the people who may suffer through similar experiences in real life, do you think this use of humor is appropriate?
I think it was appropriate for like the point that the author was trying to make. You know, I feel like how he said that like he's kind of like making stereotypes, like how, what was his name, the cousin, Chinky, like was eating the cat soup, and like the way he was dressed, and like his hair is just all kind of stereotypes that like people give. And I don't think it was meant to be funny, but meant as maybe like a teaching or like a learning experience type of thing. And then like similar experiences in real life, or like Family Guy or South Park or something like that. How like those shows are like so stereotyped and like kind of like racist and stuff too, but like the general population kind of thinks it's funny because like I've laughed at some of the stuff on Family Guy, and I'm sure like you guys have too. But like I don't think it was meant to be funny. But
I liked what Bracken said earlier when I was ripping on it, because when I think about it, whenever that did come up, it kind of made me more ticked off, or like I felt for whoever was had the stereotype was about. You know, it wasn't as much of wasn't really joking. I mean, some initially, yeah, but you're like, oh dang, that's kind of messed up.
yeah.
And it goes hand in hand with the Family Guy thing. This Family Guy, I mean, yeah, you can laugh at it, but there's always a side of you that's like, what the heck, you know?
Yeah.
Like, some of that stuff is pretty messed up. But page 114 was an example of when I just thought the cat thing, I mean, that is a joke that's used a lot, so I can see why they would put it in there, but I don't know, part of me thought it was a little bit over the line, maybe.
Just on page 31, when Timmy says, my mama says Chinese people eat dogs, I thought that was a very good use of it, and saying that he's supposed to marry Susie, because it just kind of establishes how he's going to be treated, in, like, because he was living in Chinatown, and like he was around people of his culture, and like he wasn't treated like an outsider. But now that he's in the new world, like this is how he's gonna be treated, and just like these stereotypes right off the bat just go to show how he's gonna be treated for the rest of his education.
I said that I thought the humor was almost kind of necessary throughout the novel, and like it makes people feel more like aware about the stereotypes. So like when we would like read something, like on page 48, when it's like Chinky is first coming in and we like see him and we're like, oh my gosh, and like it's like kind of funny, like his like luggage is like Chinese food boxes and stuff, and like you're prompted to laugh, like you're like, oh, ha, funny. And then Mr. Fairy would say like, oh, some of you are laughing like maybe uncomfortably, and then it just kind of makes you think like, oh my gosh, that's like, it's sad that it's like you laugh at it, but you laugh more because you're uncomfortable than like it's actually funny.
Yeah.
I think the uncomfortableness of it is definitely something that makes us more aware, like, you know, this doesn't just happen in books, like it's actually real. And I think the most uncomfortable panel and page for me was on page 96 in panel 2, when Tim and his buddy use slang terms such as chink, nippy, and goop as like puns, and they're directed at Jin, and it's just like reading that, it's uncomfortable because you know that does happen, and it doesn't get stopped, just like it didn't get stopped in the book. So it's uncomfortable to read, but it kind of brings a light to it, in a sense.
Just quickly, I think also it's kind of uncomfortable because we like see it happening in real life too.
I agree with what Carly said and how it's like necessary. I thought it was appropriate, especially in like this story, for Jeannie Yang to tell a story about these stereotypes and discrimination. Even though like especially in like Cousin Chinky's story, where it is like a TV show and they have like the like haha at the bottom, like you're supposed to laugh at something like that, but we know that it's awkward and something that you wouldn't laugh at in like real life, and nobody really does. But I thought it was just kind of really like opened up your eyes. Like this is what like does happen or what did happen, and like this is kind of what maybe like Chinese or like Asian people like experienced at a time. And I thought it was kind of the humor that we were supposed to laugh at was very effective in showing that.
Going off of what Carly said, I remember when Mr. Ferry showed us that video of like the singers up on stage or whatever, and like one of them wasn't like good for like the American picture or whatever, and like the kids who were in between the two actors were like laughing awkwardly, even though like the video was kind of wrong, and that's what I kind of went through when I was like, yeah, I was kind of laughing at the pictures of the book and like what they were saying and stuff, but I kind of understood like, wow, it's like true and this is what actually happened. So, Will, would you like to say something?
I have a quick question because on page 43 it shows like the first time we're introduced to Jin Ki, and we said, we're not introduced, but it shows the title and it's a TV show. So does that mean the whole book is a TV show?
I think
Like,
just that
Here's
part.
the chapter. Or I mean,
I think just the part of Chinky
yeah, I think
is
it's
part
the
of
story.
TV shows.
then like they like
Which is confusing because like
Coming
he
to
was
a thing
never
at the
an
end,
actor
so
or
then-
anything, so it's like it wasn't even a part of the actual. I don't know.
like if it's a TV show, like and then Chinky ends up like
Being him exactly like where did the
right
cameras
like
start
totally like
coming
right there like that's Jin.
there's no
Well,
answer. I don't.
I mean, I think it just is another way to tell the story. Like, if this wasn't a TV show, this is how people would laugh at it. I think it's just another
Oh.
way to show the stereotype rather than like an actual TV show. I think that's what he's trying
Yeah,
to do.
and I think
Okay.
this story and like this chapter, with all chapters with Shinkinu was probably the most like uncomfortable because it was probably the most open about like the stereotypes, and they like exaggerated it a lot, and like with the like how the L's and R's, and how like he's super yellow and he like slobbers and he's like he's not
In
even
his
like
teeth.
human. Like that's just how I guess it just promotes like how some people feel when certain people use those stereotypes, and I just think being more open about it raises more awareness about it. So I think that style, that I guess the TV show style that he used, was good, and it made sense for whenever Chinky like was around or whatever.
I agree that this humor is appropriate because like everyone said like when we laugh and feel uncomfortable about it, you like notice you're like laughing and then you're like I shouldn't be laughing, and it just like makes you aware of like the stereotypes. And then I had the same example as Carly on page 48 when Chinky came in town and he was like hello America, and he was like his luggage was like Chinese boxes takeout, and I was like laughing but I felt like bad about it, and I was like it made me uncomfortable.
I thought it was interesting how nobody had a question and no one didn't understand the stereotype, and they were used so frequently in this book. That to me is kind of a red flag, and it's like, well, because we've all heard these stereotypes. That's kind of messed up that they're being used, and like, because I think about the last time that I've actually heard them, and they were never used kindly. It just rolls off people's tongues. So, and going back to Bracken with the emotional part of it, I think a lot of this stuff, even though it is kind of harsh, and people need to know, so.
Yeah, like it's like a good way to teach kids what it is too.
Also, the humor part of the book, I think like when it was like the more popular people would make fun of them, they would laugh at what they were saying. It was like actual laughing, like they weren't uncomfortable saying it, which I think is also like important in the book that they put that in there, because then like because it's pictures, the people wouldn't say anything, but you could tell in their face that they were affected by it. But I just thought it was interesting that the people who said it, like they didn't think you said it to their face.
Yeah, like when those two or three white kids called them like chink and like gook and
Yeah.
what was the other one?
That was page 96.
Yeah, like, page 96, when you could like immediately see like them smiling and laughing, and then like after those kids said that to them, like their face is kind of like went like straight and kind of like frowned, like you could tell that like it hurt them.
Yeah, going back to what Alice said, just how like the book really shows like how much stereotypes really affect people, and like throughout this book we see that all the time. And on page 55 when all monkeys must wear shoes is said, and then Monkey King like goes into the kung fu stages and like accomplishes all of them because he thinks he needs to be something more. When really you don't need to be something more. You're just taking those stereotypes too seriously, and I think it's just good for us to like see the effect that the stereotypes we say have on people, and this book really shows that.
I think Joe brought up a really good point that none of us questioned it. Like from immediately at the beginning of the Chinky chapters, none of us questioned why the stereotypes. Like we've obviously heard them before, which is interesting because from the very beginning of the Chinky, it said everybody rubs, and that doesn't come up a whole lot, but obviously we've all heard it before because we didn't question the fact that that was a thing.
We're at 11 minutes.
We got 3 minutes.
Nobody has anything else to say.
Yeah, we went over the last one. Ready?
What? We're moving on?
Yeah.